Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kim Barrett Show. I am your host, Kim Barrett, and on today's episode, we have the lovely Rachel Dowdy from Green Goodness Co. and Social Goodness coming in joining us. So I've known Rachel for the entirety of her business. As it sits now, I was at her very first opening. I've been in and helped run and facilitate many workshops for her, and what she doesn't know about branding is not worth knowing, right? So she really knows how to understand a brand. So if you've got a small business or you're in business and you're like, oh, maybe I think I need a little bit of a revamp, this is going to be perfect for you. You're going to absolutely love it. We're going to cover off on what makes a brand good, what makes a brand bad, what actually is a brand. Because I think it's a word that gets thrown out a lot, but no one knows what it is. And of course, the best part is that Rachel is actually going to be one of our speakers at Certified Ballers Live. So if you haven't already, head over to www.certifiedballerslive.com.au and grab a ticket, because it's going to be an epic event. We've got Rachel, we've got all the people you've probably seen in the podcast and previous episodes, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. So make sure you head over, get a ticket if they're still available. So we'll see you guys in February at 2020. But until then, let's jump into the show. Guys, welcome to the Kim Barrett Show. We've got the lovely Rachel Dowdy here from Green Goodness Co. Social Goodness. All amazing good things come in a Rachel package. That's how these things operate, guys. Now, Rachel's going to be joining us at Certified Ballers Live, www.certifiedballerslive.com.au. But Rachel, what we're here to talk about today is we want to find out about branding and about positioning our businesses, because probably what you've done almost better than anyone else that I've seen is being able to build really solid brands that people can get behind. You can build community and people actually love it and they want to get involved with it. So before we dive too deep into that, tell us a little bit about the story of not only Green Goodness Co, but Social Goodness as well. Give us like the headline. Give us a little taster.
First of all, thanks for having me, Kim.
Pleasure.
Always good to have a chat. Green Goodness Co, obviously you were at the launch 5 years ago. Oh, wow. We'll be in January. So yeah.
I think that's gone past.
Hasn't it?
Yeah. It was like ages ago and also like it was yesterday.
Yeah. So obviously I had a vision for creating a platform for the health and wellness industry. Obviously it's such a growing industry, and, you know, from my own experience, there was a lot of amazing things going on out there. So events happening, great businesses, people were doing amazing things. And it was just about bringing that all together into one platform. Because of my sort of history in the corporate world, I did a lot of, community-based sort of things and networking and things like that. So for me, it was only natural to want to bring together everybody in the industry, because that's what I wanted, that connection. And, you know, funnily enough, it's what everybody wanted, because everyone's sort of doing their own thing and, you know, had a lot of people had actually just left their corporate jobs to follow their passion in whatever it was, whether it was a fitness business, it was, you know, a food-based business or whatever else. So, so that really is what I, you know, would put down to a lot of the success.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, because a lot of people now, they're probably seeing tons of like wellness events and like and women's business groups and stuff. And P.S. I never get invited. Thanks, women. So unfair.
Only Julian Pace gets invited to the women's only events.
If only my hair was better, then I would get invited. But I mean, no one was really doing like big events to bring.
No,
not really. Like there was little like networking, but then it's always like 10 referrals from.
I was going to say BNI.
Yeah, like those sorts of things. But there wasn't really anything, and there's nothing. I don't think that there still isn't anything that I think is specifically wellness, health focused. Like I think that's still definitely a market that you dominate.
Thank you.
And what, like, so obviously, because you before actually had, I don't know how many people know the story, but it's because you actually had a juice company.
Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of where the name Green Goodness started from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you do when you changed over? So you had juices under Green Goodness, and then you started Green Goodness Co. Like, what went through your mind when you were looking at the branding to when you put it out to people and you go, well, now I want to bring people into it as a community. Like, how did you change how you kind of positioned it, and what did you do with your branding to make it so that people liked it?
So obviously, we had a small following doing the juices, had that moment of, I actually hate being in the kitchen. I'm really not good at that sort of thing. So I was like, why did I start a juice business? So on that change, basically I hired a marketing company and did a completely new rebrand. We came up with a vision. We came up with our mission and values and really dove into what that brand was and that offering and created that look and feel from there. That evolved many times.
Yeah.
Like it's still the original brand, but it has undergone, some couple of unlike me, I've never had any. I'm 40 this year, maybe that's going to have to change. So just a bit of a freshen up, but really, and I think, from that positioning, it got known because of the community and what we were doing out there.
Yeah. So what do you think then, if you're looking at a brand, like what made it good? Like versus, because some people could do that and it was stuck.
Yeah.
Right? It just wouldn't be good. So what do you think that you did that made the brand actually good that people could relate to? Because now you are doing like a lot of this stuff for businesses, right? Yes. With social goodness.
Yeah.
So what did you like? What did you do either on purpose or accidentally? And then now, like, how are you helping people with
that? Good question. I think it was just being genuine and actually wanting for people to grow their business. And I remember you hosted one of our first workshops to do social media because I was like, Kim was my go-to guy. And I'm like, I want 200 people at our launch. And people were like, that's funny. And I was like, no, it's happening. And Kim's like, yeah, this is easy, da-da-da. I was like, yeah, cool. Just did what he said. And 200 people registered and come. And everyone was like, wow, that's amazing. I was like, pretty natural. Or it's Kim. 50-50, blended. You can take all the credit. I did nothing. I did no help with that.
So then what, like, apart from that, you did the launch, and then, so what was it that, like, what do you think that you were like, looking back, you're like, now that you're doing it for people, you're like, here are the things that we do now for people that we did that made it super successful?
Yeah, so I think, like, I've got two markets. So there's obviously the public market and the businesses. It's been a really interesting journey to where my focus goes. And those early days, it was, always creating content for those businesses. Sorry, not for those businesses, for the public. Yeah. And then creating community and helping them up level for what they were doing. So it was a very different approach for each audience. So with the business community, that was more event-driven and face-to-face community building, supporting them physically. And then with the public, that was very much creating content. So I remember I was putting out a lot of content, and one day I just sat there and jumped up from my couch and I ran into the office and I was like, right, I'm going to come up with like 3 blogs, and I wrote top 10 healthy cafes, and literally that just blew up.
I was going to say, that's something that I saw you did really well, which is like the amalgamation of all the different businesses and brands. And you're like, we're going to put together the guys that are going to show it. And that's what I remember. And I still go to, like, when we're looking for a healthy cafe to go to for like lunch, brunch, breakfast, or whatever, I still go to Green Goodness Co because I'm like, I remember the guys, and I was like, I still haven't been to the restaurant cafes. So I still go there to find them.
Yeah. And when we launched nationally, like, I know what our most popular 50 blogs are and what's getting traction and, how to rank through Google and for those sort of key terms. So, I guess like that was something I learned early on, and it was like, okay, cool. I get it now. It was just that penny dropped of like, that's what people wanted to know. And, like it's the age old thing of like, know your target audience and what are they wanting to know and all of that sort of stuff. But,
So would you say that the success of the brand, especially on the green goodness side, would be predominantly because of how good the content was?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because that's one thing I think that people do. They're like, as opposed to going, I have to do 500 pieces of content, you just did a few pieces at the beginning really well.
Yes.
How did you know, though, when you say, like, obviously you got to know your market, like, did you know that it was going to be good? Or were you just like, this is something that kind of I want to know, so maybe other people want to know it? Or like, how did you figure that
out? Like we've got at the moment 700 blogs on the site. So I've had a lot of over time. Like it, you just know what works and what doesn't. And I think there's still like a lot of blogs that are successful, but they're not shareable and they're not going to go as well on social media. So like there's a lot of different strategies, obviously, with SEO and what socially works and sort of different things like that. So yeah, like it was just a matter of sort of seeing who was liking, sharing that content and just sort of keep sort of going down that path. But then there was things that I kept sticking to going, no, but this is what I want to share. And again and again, no one liked it. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's the choice, right? You're like, this is going to be amazing. And no one likes it. Yeah. So tell me, like, if someone's sitting at home watching, maybe they're a solopreneur or they're a small business, they've got a couple of people in there and they go, we're a good business. What we have is good. But we don't know how to best position and brand ourselves for our market. What's maybe 1, 2, max kind of 3 things that they should be doing or looking at to figure out how to brand themselves properly so that they can have even a little bit of the success that you guys have had with the social growth and everything like that?
Yeah, less is more. And I think people don't want to invest in their brand.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing that I see. And it's like that would be probably the biggest thing that I've seen businesses fail and businesses be successful is that they will invest in good branding. What's
good branding? So if they're sitting there at home, they're like, cool. I get people tell me I need to have a good brand. And is it just literally the name that I have? Is it the name of my business? What's your definition of it? And then what does it look like to be good?
Yeah, I mean, it is all about the logo, your branding, yeah, exactly. You wearing a shirt, how this is positioned. You've got all this. I normally do this
shirtless, guys, but not today. Not today.
I couldn't handle the 6-pack.
Yeah. Guys, it's already hot enough in here. We didn't want to turn the steam up. The camera would get too hot. No, we don't want that as a problem.
I watched a podcast with someone in a sauna the other day. Really? Yeah, they actually recorded it in their sauna. I was that would be really cool.
Yeah. Maybe infrared sauna.
Yeah, it was infrared. I think it was off. But still.
Okay, so you've got to do all that. You've got to get the brand. You've got to have, wear a shirt, guys. Always wear a shirt.
Unless that's on brand. If you're a fitness model, don't wear a shirt.
Yeah, true. Unless you're a fitness model. There you go, guys. So you've got that. You do that. What does it actually mean to have good brand? So if you're like, cool, I have a good logo. Yeah. I know what sort of style I need to be in as my company. But then what else makes it good?
Yeah, I think a lot of people sort of forget that it's all about your core values and that it's like how you're aligning with your target audience. But if you're not clear or got, that in the back of your mind when you're creating content or when you're aligning with different people, then it's not in alignment. So values, your personality, obviously you like to have a bit of a laugh. That's why we align. Do you know what I mean? And there's sort of that between everything. So even though really polished Kim Barrett, how that is, it's your values, your personality, your mission, what you're trying to achieve, how you deliver. If you're not answering your phone and don't answer messages and leave people hanging, all your brand integrity, all that brand is lost, where you're very consistent in everything that you do.
I think that's the big point there is that people think it's you do your branding and your branding's done.
Yeah.
But then as you said, they don't marry it across their content, how they put themselves out, what people they go and work with.
Yeah.
For example, same with us with Certified Ballers Live, we could put, and I've probably had more people reach out to me now that because they saw that we have Mark Bora speaking. Yeah. All these people were like, oh, Kim, do you need more speak? Can I come and speak? Do you need more speakers? And it's well, to me, it's hang on, you didn't want to come and speak before. So now as well, I've also got to be very careful though with who we choose because it's they're going to be a representation of our brand. Yeah. So I think that most people forget about that and they go, well, branding is, I've done my branding, done.
Yeah.
It's not a set and forget thing, is it?
It isn't.
No.
And that's the thing. It's in every social post. What filter are you using? What words are you using? And it's, a part of your brand is your target audience.
Yeah.
So it's coming back to that. It's, how it's how you're doing everything. From your marketing to your sales process. Yeah. If your sales process isn't aligned with your brand, then that's disjointed. And that's the thing about, doesn't matter what part of your business. Some people are sales, it's that dirty word. And a lot of small businesses drive me crazy with that they're not happy to lean into that. But if that's in alignment with your personality and with what it is that you're trying to achieve in your mission, then you know, it's going to flow and it's all going to be in alignment.
Yeah, and that makes so much sense. As you say, I think a lot of people forget that and they don't try and put it across and look at everything that they're doing and match it all up. And I think that's really when you say it's a bad branding or a bad brand, in my eyes anyway, it's not that they have a bad logo or they choose like a bad color palette. Mm-hmm. It's more so that it's all disjointed, right? Yes. Like, hang on, this doesn't match with this, which just doesn't match with this. Yeah. And that's really what I think makes a big difference with people.
It is. And that's about just sort of, you know, and most people, when you start a business, you don't have a brand strategy. You don't even understand what a brand is. I remember I was literally like 18 months in and I still had absolutely no idea what a brand was. I was like, that's just a logo, you know, and it like all starts to make sense on like, how that all sort of is. So, you know, so many businesses, you do just start with a logo and you do sort of, but those successful brands, they might not have the best logo, but like you say, like it's consistent across there. And I think, you know, that's what creates loyalty and trust. And I think that's the biggest thing about the success of a brand, is that people are like trusting of it because it's consistent. Like they wouldn't know, none of your consumers would know or your clients would know about all those behind the scenes things, but they go, oh, it just feels right.
Yeah. Now, for anyone watching, if they're like, cool, this Rachel chick sounds pretty good, and it sounds like she knows what she's talking about, what are you going to be sharing with us at Certified Ballers Live? Like, give us a little bit of a tidbit. Like, you may have covered off in a little bit, but for the guys coming along, like, what can they expect from you at CBL?
What I really wanted to sort of go into was, like how your brand does sort of flow through all those parts of your business and how to get that consistency and through everything. So so obviously it's like very heavily sort of marketing focused and things like that. But I just wanted to sort of be sharing about, you know, that brand setup, because I'm sure there'll be some new businesses there, and some other businesses that are like, great, I've now been in business 3 or 4 years, you know, and it's time to sort of lock down, you know, and start working on that bigger brand strategy.
And so for people that are watching and playing along at home, small business owners just started in business or even experienced, like what are a few things that they should be looking at and assessing and going, cool, if I'm going to come to CBL or even if I'm going to reach out to Rachel herself directly, like what are a few things that they need to be thinking about or know? Because if someone goes, cool, what's your brand strategy? Is it like, give us a hit list if you were to go requirements, like you have your logo, you've got color palettes, you've got this. Like what are a few things that people should be putting together so that they can understand if they have something in place or not?
Yeah, it is like that look and feel. Mm-hmm. So obviously your brand, your fonts, you know, your logo, all of those types of things. The way you communicate, and then your sort of personality. So a lot of that is your tone of voice, what you know, how you're going to be communicating, and then flowing that through. You know, well, where's your website at, your social media, your sales copy, you know, does that flow through your messaging?
Do you have any examples of ones that are like that you've seen, you're like, oh, like they tried, but they missed the mark? Like, is there any that come to mind when you're like, I've seen some people's ones and you're like, oh, the logo and stuff looked really cool. Then I went to the website and this didn't work. And then I went to Instagram and they're using pink and fuchsia, but over here it's black and silver. Like, have you seen anything like that where you've just been like, that didn't quite work?
I'm more wired to just get excited about brands.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, that's one that wouldn't work. If there was that wouldn't work with it, right? Like if there was like, if you went to, let's just say, like, what would be, or here's a better way of like, let me see if we can use this example. Kim Barrett Show. We've got this logo and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. What would be like, and let's just say I don't have a Kim Barrett Show Instagram. I have Kim Barrett Instagram, but let's just say I did. If you went to my Instagram, what would if you saw something there, what would be bad? If you went there and like, oh, that's not on brand for the Kim Barrett Show. What would be like some colors or something?
Well, like, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people have their social tiles, you know, and go, oh, like do their little Insta things and their little layouts, but it's like using a different font or using blue. Like for you, like your social voice has got blue in it. But however, like this whole lockup should be consistent, you know, and that's a brand within your business. So that can still have consistency through that. But yeah, like that could be in, you know, purple or
hot pink.
Hot pink.
Yeah, and then you're like,
no.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And so what's one thing, like if you give everyone just one thing that they could do to make their branding better between now and CBL, because you all should be coming to Certified Ballers Live.
Definitely.
Hearing Rachel speak and a few other cool people too. What's one thing?
Just a few other
Yeah, just a couple of other things. What's one thing that they could do to improve their branding between now and
then? Email me.
Yeah.
Reach out through Kim. I will give you.
Well, email. I will put this in the show notes.
Yeah, put it in the show notes.
Rachel at
greengoodnessco.com.au.
At greengoodnessco.com.au.
But yeah, put it in the show notes. But if there's a bit of a checklist.
Okay.
So I'm happy to share that checklist and then we can run through that.
We'll drop that into the show notes, guys, and everyone come to CBL. We'll give you access to that also, so you can check it out, a hit list of what you need to put together.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, I always like to end towards the end with a little bit of a hard question. So one of my favorite questions. I stole it from, I was on a podcast one time and the guy asked me and I was like, this is the best podcast question ever. I'm stealing this. What's one question that I didn't ask you that I should have?
Don't know.
Guys, stumped.
Stumped.
1 from 3 from asking this question. I'm 1 from 3 on stumped. I like it. Okay, cool. Well, then I won't make you ask that question, but I'm going to make you think about it and you have to give me an answer later anyway.
Yeah,
put it in the show notes.
Thank you.
Okay, so where can people connect with you? Because you've got Social Goodness, you've got Green Goodness Co. Where's the best place for people to connect with you?
Yeah, Green Goodness Co. Instagram, Social Goodness.
Yep. So we'll put all the links to all the social links down below in the show notes,
email,
guys.
anything.
Get on email, get on the line somewhere with Rachel. She's a gun, and yeah, she's going to be bringing a lot of heat to CBL. So if you haven't already, head to www.certifiedballerslive.com.au. Grab a ticket, come see Rachel and everyone else. We're going to be jamming out. You're with us for the 2 days as well, right?
Yes.
Yep, awesome. So pretty much all of our speakers, apart from Mark Boris, are going to be there for the full 2 days. So that means that if you're a VIP or a baller, you get to rub shoulders with Rachel, you get to hang out, get to go to drinks on the field.
Shirts on.
I can't vouch for what happens after drinks finish. I am not, and that's not a YSV time. That's all up to you guys. So yeah, guys, make sure you get along, check it out. And as always, if you like the podcast, please give us a cheeky like, subscribe, leave us a review. Tell me if it's good. Tell me if my hair needs to be better. You know, if my shirt needs to be wider, my teeth need to be wider, whatever it is for you guys. Let me know. Drop a comment and let us know. Until next time, I'm Kim. Y'all have been awesome. Adios.